On May 21st, 2025, there was this exclusive article written by JTBC about NewJeans case. Exclusive. NewJeans strengthens legal team ahead of second court hearing against ADOR. There was also this article released by a media agency called eDaily titled Exclusive NewJeans versus ADOR, a legal showdown with heavyweight former judges now involved. And there were multiple articles written about the similar case by multiple other media agencies. So it just shows that, the people, and especially the Korean media, are still paying close attention to this case between NewJeans and ADOR, HYBE versus NewJeans. All right, so let me read this article and translate it for you. And in this video, we're gonna talk about this new lawyer that NewJeans side has just hired, and then we will actually look into this case number to see how many lawyers each side has hired. And at the end of the video, there's this new happening, something that happened, like controversy. NewJeans Daniel like potentially collabing with another artist, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so let's start here. JTBC article. Exclusive. NewJeans strengthens legal team ahead of second court hearing against ADOR. NewJeans has reinforced its legal team ahead of the second hearing in the ongoing lawsuit over the validity of their exclusive contract with their label, ADOR. According to legal sources, on May 21st, NewJeans submitted a document on May 9th, officially adding new attorneys to their legal representation in the case filed by ADOR. The group is currently represented by the major law firm Shin & Kim, also known as Sejong. NewJeans is now being represented by a total of 13 lawyers, some of whom previously worked with NewJeans. On the other hand, ADOR, on the other hand, has retained Kim In-jung, another top-tier law firm, and is reportedly represented by 12 lawyers. The choice of heavyweight legal teams and the size of the delegations suggest just how seriously both sides are taking the case. The estimated legal fees alone are believed to be substantial. So, first of all, the number of lawyers. So I actually, typed in the legal case number, and this website is publicly available. Anybody can access it. And it turns out that NewJeans side is hiring 15 lawyers in total. Okay, so this says 법무법인 세종. So from Sejong, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12 lawyers from Sejong and 3 additional lawyers, Park Hyung-nam, Kim Dong-yeon, Lee Jae-ok, from a new law firm called Usung. So a total of 15 lawyers. So, I think this website is the most legitimate source. So I think JTBC has not done the fact check right. On the other hand, they were right. HYBE or ADOR has hired how many lawyers did they say? They said 12 lawyers, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so 13 lawyers are representing ADOR. So 15 versus 13. 15 for NewJeans and 13 for ADOR. So I'm not sure. I don't know why JTBC said 13 for NewJeans and 12 for ADOR. Maybe that's they were meaning something different. All right, but anyways, this isn't the first time. And when it comes to legal fees, I mean the exact amount we don't know for sure, but I'm guessing more than 1 billion Korean won. So how much would that be? 10억. So 100만, 1000만, 10, 10억. So more than $1 million, I would say, or close to $1 million to $1.5 million. Who knows for each side? Because for a top lawyer, like a former judge, they would charge you. I don't know, how much would it be in the States or any other country, but like 1 million Korean won per hour almost. So it will be substantial for each side. So like between, I don't know, who knows, like a billion Korean won or 2 billion Korean won for each side or more. So it is indeed gonna be substantial in terms of the legal fees. But I'm guessing that NewJeans' side is believing that hiring additional lawyers is worth it. All right, let's keep going. This isn't the first time NewJeans has expanded its legal team. They also added attorneys prior to the first hearing held on April 3rd. Their most recent additions appear to be another show of strength ahead of the second session. While the number of lawyers doesn't directly influence the court's decision, it does signal the group's determination, especially as the 5 NewJeans members are now backed by more than twice as many legal representatives. So, interesting way to phrase it, right? The fact that there are more lawyers than the NewJeans members now. The first hearing wrapped up quickly, with both sides presenting their initial positions. The court focused on whether the relationship of trust between NewJeans and ADOR had irreparably broken down. ADOR expressed a willingness to settle, while NewJeans drew a firm line. Right? ADOR kept saying that NewJeans can come back. Even now, and then be part of ADOR and do their activities as musicians, artists, or, like advertising models as they wish. But they never came back. With the second hearing set for June 5th, attention is now on whether the NewJeans members will appear in person. They were absent from the first session. Since March 21st, following the court's decision to uphold ADOR's injunction, the group has been forced to pause all independent activities. So that's what JTB said. And then at the end of the article, they also talked about this, Danielle case. But I'll get back to that, come back to that at the end of the video. Now, E-Daily, on the other hand, paid closer attention to the specific lawyer that NewJeans hired because he's a seasoned veteran. All right, so let's read about that. Exclusive, NewJeans versus ADOR, a legal showdown with heavyweight former judges now involved. The legal battle between girl group NewJeans and their agency ADOR over their exclusive contract has escalated, with high-profile former judges joining both sides. Following the court's decision to block NewJeans from pursuing independent activities and the group's appeal of the ruling, both parties have now brought in heavyweight legal firepower, including a former Constitutional Court justice and a former chief judge. With major law firms already involved, the case is now shaping up to be one of the most high-stakes showdowns and the industry has seen. The industry has seen. Okay, it was written by a journalist called Baek Jua. According to legal sources, on May 21st, the appeal filed by NewJeans over the injunction banning their independent activities has been assigned to Civil Division 25 of the Seoul High Court, presided over by judges Hwang Byung-ha, Chung Jong-wan, and Lee Kyun-yong. For the appeal, NewJeans has added Park Hyung-nam, is this guy. Right here, Park Hyung-nam 대표 변호사, head attorney at Woo-seung Law, to their legal team alongside their primary firm, Shin and Kim. So they're using 2 law firms now. Woo-seung, this one, 법무법인 Woo-seung, and then Shin and Kim. Park Hyung-nam, is a prominent figure, having passed both the bar and civil service exams while still a student at Seoul National University. He served as a judge at the Seoul District Court and later became a senior official at the National Court Administration and president of the Jeonju District Court. In 2008, he was appointed as a Seoul High Court judge. And in 2023, he became the first sitting judge to lead the Judicial Policy Research Institute, the official think tank of Korea's judiciary. He retired this past February and joined Woo-seung. With his addition, NewJeans' legal team now consists of 14 lawyers, including Lee Won, a veteran attorney and partner at Shin and Kim. Why is this article saying 14? Am I counting wrong? So Park Hyung-nam has brought in 2, attorneys or lawyers with him. So that's 3 additional lawyers for NewJeans. So let me count one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, that's 15. Okay. Let's check again later to see if that's right or wrong. All right. ADOR, represented by Korea's largest law firm Kim & Jong, has also beefed up its legal team. The agency recently brought in Kang-il-won, former Constitutional Court Justice, Judicial Class 16. Actually, wait. No, this is not right. Kang-il-won is not included here. I think this article is written in a confusing way. So they're saying Chun Ji-sung. So they added Chun Ji-sung, who is the daughter of former Justice Minister Chun Jung-bae and daughter of former Constitutional Court Justice Kang Il-won. Okay, so they added one more lawyer to their legal team. And 지난 10일, last month, Hong Seung-myeon. So in the past, they also added Hong Seung-myeon, former Seoul High Court Chief Judge, who joined, it says May 12th, but he joined the team a while ago. I'm not sure what's going on with this. Okay, I gotta fact check on my own later. But anyways, so they now have 13 lawyers as part of their legal representatives. So that number is correct. 13 lawyers for ADOR. Legal experts are closely watching whether the addition of such high caliber former judges could significantly influence the outcome of the case. Both sides are now seen as fully mobilized for a lengthy and potentially precedent-setting legal battle. Yeah. NewJeans claims that ADOR violated the terms of their exclusive contract, effectively nullifying the agreement, and began independent activities in November 2024. In response, ADOR filed a lawsuit asserting that the contract is still valid and sought a court injunction to stop the members from continuing their solo activities. On March 21st, the Seoul Central District Court Civil Division 50 sided entirely with ADOR, issuing an injunction to block NewJeans from signing advertising or agency-related deals on their own. The court ruled that there was insufficient evidence to prove that ADOR had breached its contractual obligations or that the relationship between the parties had broken down beyond repair. NewJeans immediately filed an objection to the injunction, but that was also dismissed. The court upheld its initial decision, calling the injunction legally valid. As a result, the group submitted an appeal and has since suspended all activities while awaiting the outcome of the appeal process. Since each article is counting the number of lawyers differently, I might make a separate video to go through each of these lawyers representing each party. So if you're interested, look forward to that video. Now, so let's talk about this specific lawyer that NewJeans has just hired. As this article by eDaily had paid attention to this guy. So he's a judge turned lawyer, Park Hyung-nam, and he joined Woo-seung Law Firm after 38 years on the bench, right? And he, ahead of the regular judicial shuffle in January 2025, he has officially stepped down from his post as head of the Judicial Policy Research Institute, where he served as a head, right? And he was actually the first sitting judge ever to lead the institute. Now, Woo-seung Law Firm has since announced the recruitment of 3 former chief judges, including Park Hyung-nam, as its new managing partners back in March. And then here's a brief interview piece with him as he made a decision to join a new law firm, right, Woo-seung. After 30 years as a judge, I'll now fight for clients like a gladiator. That was the title of the interview. Interview with Park Hyung-nam, managing partner at Woo-seung Law Firm. first sitting judge to serve as head of the Judicial Policy Research Institute, and 15 years at the Seoul High Court, known for handling complex appeals. In an interview on April 28, 2025, in Seochodong, Seoul, Park Hyung-nam, now managing partner at Woo-seung Law Firm, shared his thoughts on his new chapter after nearly 4 decades on the bench. After 38 years as a judge, I'm ready to use all my experience to fight for my clients, like a gladiator in the courtroom. So I guess this is gonna be the first major case for him, where he would fight for his clients, who are now NewJeans, like a gladiator. What else he said? When he was asked why he chose Woo-seung Law Firm, Park said he was drawn to the firm not just for its name. Woo-seung means victory in Korean, but for its deeper dual meaning. It also means to help a friend. And I was inspired by the idea of standing by. I was also inspired by the idea of standing by people in unjust situations, like a dependable friend. Interesting. He explained the contrast between the roles of judge and attorney. As a judge, my role was to uphold the law and suppress personal emotions. As a lawyer, my duty is to fight fiercely on behalf of the client. I intend to go beyond strict legal interpretation and apply real-world insight to every case. During his time on the bench, Park handled major civil, administrative, and criminal cases, including fair trade, labor disputes, and election-related offenses. He spent more than 15 years at the Seoul High Court, one of Korea's most demanding appellate courts. Seoul High Court handles some of the most complex, high-stakes appeals across civil, criminal, and administrative law, he said. That experience gives me a real edge as a lawyer. Whether it's evidence, law, in civil trials, or corporate litigation, I'll be fully committed to securing meaningful victories for my clients. All right, what a determination. And I kind of wonder, when he said that he was appealed by or inspired by the idea of standing by people in unjust situations, like a dependable friend. Do you think he really considered NewJeans as like people stand, in unjust situations? Who knows? But super interesting that this is gonna be, the first major case that he'll be handling as a lawyer after retiring as a judge, right? So, and also it's ironic that recently some bunnies have criticized HYBE for having brought in former high-ranking judges from Kim Il-jang to go against NewJeans, right? They said HYBE also filed multiple lawsuits against CEO Min Jin, deliberately dragging out court dates in what looks like a calculated strategy to legally box her in. But from my understanding, it was actually Min Jin herself who tried to delay the whole process as much as possible. So I'm not sure what they're talking about. They also said, while NJZ, that's the name they use, while NewJeans and Min are fighting with their own personal funds, HYBE is using corporate money to hire one of Korea's most elite legal teams, backed by powerful networks. That phrase was just so ironic. They're shaping the courtroom battlefield to their advantage with money and influence. Is this really a fair fight? 전관예우, that was a phrase they used, which means preferential treatment for former judges. May not be illegal, but in the end, it's a game that only the rich can afford to win. What HYBE is doing goes beyond legal defense. It borders on corporate abuse of power, ethical failure in artist management, structural discrimination against individuals with less power. Should a massive corporation be allowed to go this far against individuals? So first of all, this tweet oversimplifies a complex legal situation and frames it in a way that might mislead people unfamiliar with how litigation works, right? Especially in high-stakes corporate disputes. And look, NewJeans and Min is not just an individual. she's a former executive who also has her own legal teams, including a top tier law firm, Shin and Kim. And that question, so when this guy said, while NJZ and Minijin are fighting with their own personal funds, I'm curious, how do you know? I mean, nobody knows for sure, other than the insiders. But maybe someone is providing such funds, or maybe Minijin is using her own funds, or maybe she's using NewJeans funds. Who knows? But nobody knows. Also, this tweet accuses HYBE of using former judges to, I don't know, tilt the legal playing field, so to say. But NewJeans' own legal team now includes a former head of the Judicial Policy Research Institute, Park Hyung-nam, who was a career judge and Seoul High Court veteran. And that's the very definition of a 전관, ex-judge elite. So, if the original argument is that hiring ex-judges is equal to unethical imbalance, then both sides are playing the same game. So you can't frame it as like corporate tyranny versus powerless individuals when both teams are, fielding elite legal talent from Korea's judicial upper crust, so to say. And now NewJeans side has hired more lawyers than ADOR. So this isn't like David versus Goliath. It's Goliath versus Goliath in court robes, and both are lawyering up accordingly. Like 15 for NewJeans and 13 lawyers for ADOR. So, while court rulings are ultimately based on facts and legal reasoning, not headcounts, as this article mentioned, but the sheer size of a legal team still sends a clear message to both the court and the opposing party that we're taking this super seriously, right? So when both sides bring in top-tier law firms, it signals that this isn't just a typical entertainment dispute. It's a super high-stakes case that could shape the entire framework of contract enforcement in the industry. Which is why HYBE is spending a lot of money on lawyers, and not to suppress NewJeans, it's to protect artist IPs. And this case could affect and influence the whole industry and become a super important precedent. Also, NewJeans technically, NewJeans' approach has been anything but passive in this case, right? They have expanded their legal team aggressively and are directly challenging the claim that, the trust between the parties has irreparably broken down. But the fact that some of their legal counsel previously represented Minijin also hints at a coordinated legal strategy behind the scenes, right? And the term 전관예우 that this particular bunny has used, the term 정관예우, preferential treatment for former judges, often brings to mind unfair privileges, but it's important not to overlook the very expertise that former judges and prosecutors bring to the table. Like this guy. So, for example, they understand that the logical flow of reasoning that resonates with judges and which types of evidence carry weight, and the unspoken dynamics of how a courtroom works. So in many cases, they thrive not because of favoritism, but because of their skill and their insight and their institutional knowledge. And also, while first instance rulings like injunctions focus heavily on the facts, like who did what and was a contract breached, appeals are more about legal representation. Legal interpretation. So judges ask, was the law applied correctly? Was the reasoning logical, or were there gaps? How should abstract concepts be evaluated in legal terms? So that's why sharp legal reasoning and persuasive argument matter even more in appeals, especially from lawyers who know how the system thinks, which is probably why NewJeans' side has hired this veteran from the new law firm, Usung. So, yeah, Former judges can be very effective in appeals because ex-judges know exactly what kinds of arguments the court finds persuasive, which phrases trigger red flags, and what kind of evidence structure actually moves a judge. And they don't just know the law, they know how judges think. So when a former judge like this guy joins a case, they often bring with them a mental checklist, so to say, of what will land with the bench and build their written submissions accordingly. And that's a huge strategic advantage in appeals where clarity and precision carry more weight than emotional storytelling. Although, I'm kind of curious, the injunction, the conclusion was heavily, entirely against NewJeans. It was, people say 11-0, right? All the appeals that NewJeans made were dismissed by the court. So I'm not sure what can this seasoned veteran do to turn the game around. I don't know. We'll have to see. Now, of course, when it comes to 정관 예우, there's a valid criticism. And criticism is justified when it's about connections, not competence, right? So the issue arises when the same argument is only taken seriously because it's made by a former judge, or outcomes change based on personal networks, not legal merit, so to say, or informal lobbying or backdoor influence. Those are the things that could be problematic, and those cases are rightly seen as threats to judicial fairness. But, in this case, most of the high-profile attorneys involved, like former high court judges, constitutional court justices, and legal policy heads, they have track records that speak to their legal expertise, not just their connections. So, if their arguments genuinely help clarify legal reasoning or introduce compelling interpretations, it's not preferential treatment, it's strategic deployment of qualified former officials. So, fingers crossed that they're all playing the fair games. And I'm super curious what this guy will do to help his clients like a gladiator, fighting like a gladiator. All right, so that's it. And once again, if I have time, I'll make a separate video to track all these different lawyers hired by NewJeans and ADOR. Okay? All right, before we wrap up, let's briefly touch upon this subject. NewJeans Daniel spotted in studio amid hiatus. Collab rumors sparked, then denied. Despite NewJeans being on a break from all activities, member Danielle recently made a surprise appearance, sparking speculation and excitement among fans. The buzz started when American R&B duo Emotional Oranges posted a photo of Danielle on their official social media. The picture, seemingly taken in a studio, showed Danielle dressed casually in a hoodie, jeans, and sunglasses, sitting in a studio chair. Along with the photo, the duo added both an orange emoji, their symbol, and a bunny emoji, often associated with NewJeans, along with the caption, "Just give us some time, guys, it's coming." The post immediately fueled rumors of a possible collaboration, especially since Danielle had not made any public appearance since the group halted all activities due to an ongoing legal dispute with ADOR. Fans were quick to interpret the emojis and timing as a hint at new music. However, the post was soon deleted, raising questions. Given that Danielle is currently barred from independent activities without ADOR's involvement, many fans speculated the removal was related to the ongoing contract disputes. And it turns out, on May 21st, Emotional Oranges, the artist, clarified the situation and posted a statement saying, "There's no collaboration with Danielle. We were simply helping produce a song for Olivia Marsh, who is her older sister, Danielle's older sister." They added, "Apologies if there was any confusion. That was never our intention. Hope to see you on tour soon." So, yeah, I guess that was simply happening. And I guess the clarification and swift deletion initially left fans puzzled, especially in light of the unresolved legal issues surrounding NewJeans. And the article says, to recap, NewJeans has been on hiatus since November 2024 after the members claim ADOR breached their exclusive contract. While the group attempted to pursue independent activities, a court sided with ADOR's request for an injunction, forcing them to pause all promotions and public appearances. So what does this case tell us? I mean, this was a very brief rumor, collaboration rumor, but it reveals that public and the media have high interest in this case in NewJeans. But the fact that the post was deleted, followed by an official clarification, highlights that the legal dispute is actively limiting NewJeans' ability to operate, even informally. But once again, they can do what they want as artists, as long as they're doing it under ADOR, right? So all that ADOR HYBE is oppressing them, that argument doesn't stand from my perspective. All right, so there you go. And when does the article say the next case is happening? June. I'll figure out. Wasn't it June? Yeah, I'll figure out the date and put it on my calendar. All right, I'm sure you guys already know it. Anyways, so there you go. I hope this video was informative for you. And if there's any updates about this case, I will make follow-up videos accordingly. And if you are experts in, I don't know, law, share your opinions. Even if you're not, feel free to share your opinions and let's talk about it. And once again, yeah, it's a legal showdown. The legal teams, the representatives just got bigger. And NewJeans has now hired 15 lawyers. So let's see how this plays out in the future. All right, peace, love, bye-bye.